Okay, my mathematics course.
Who want chop basmati rice for there? Who want chop basmati rice? Off your mic, Joe.
You're not getting my answer. We should put like the owner of. You know when you're the owner of letter of, you know when you're the owner of the you know the way you
Hey, babe, please off your mic. The lecturer is around. Off your mic. The lecturer is around.
Okay, àbí ogun lọ sí 100 million ṣọmọdé owó àbí 200 pààtì kan tiẹ̀ ní ẹ̀ tó bá kọ́ bí kò ló máa tó ló mú bí kò á lò kàn nù.
Please off your mic. Please off your mic. Please off your mic. Lecturer is around. Off your mic.
He's gonna put it back.
Don't put the left for but you understand when it never happens.
Greetings all. After much trouble with connection, I think we are now together eventually. So this is the study session 3 we are having together. You recall that earlier we already had some session. We had session 1, session 2, and those ones are recorded. I'm sure you will have the video recording of all those ones from the YouTube. So I believe since we have all muted, we can all see the screen I'm sharing. Ruth, can you confirm you are seeing the screen I'm sharing? Ruth.
Yes, sir, I can see the screen, sir. I can see the screen.
Okay, thank you. So we can move now. So we are looking at state-owned corporations / public enterprises. When we say state-owned or we say public enterprises, what does it connote? It simply means those businesses that are being run by government as against those ones owned by individual. Businesses owned and run by government, they are what? Public corporation or enterprises. So the concept of PPP is when a particular business is opened up, whereby both the government and private individuals come together as partnership in business. When you have that one, we call it what? Public-private partnership. So for government to own organization or enterprise, what does it connote? It means the conception of the idea to establish that business, the management in place to run that business, and the responsibility for the resources for that business absolutely rests on the government. When you have that type of what? Enterprise, you call it what? Public enterprise. Public enterprise. So what do we expect that at the end of this interaction you should be able to do? After studying this session, you'll be able to define a state-owned enterprise, a public-private partnership, be able to state the characteristic features of state-owned enterprises, distinguish between private and a public sector enterprise, identify the various models of public-private partnership, differentiate between privatization and commercialization. The key terms we come across include state-owned corporation, or what we call public enterprises, private sector enterprises, PSC, privatization, commercialization, full commercialization, and partial commercialization. The nature of state-owned corporation. Now, let's move. A state-owned enterprise or public corporation can also be known as 1, state-owned company, 2, state enterprise, 3, publicly owned corporation, 4, government business enterprise, 5, state-owned company or corporation. So when you hear any of these one, all of them are referring to the same thing. They are all referring to public enterprises. You can also call it government-sponsored enterprises, commercial government agency, state privatized industry, public sector undertaking, a parastatal, or instrumentalities. Still on the nature of state-owned corporation. A state-owned enterprise or public corporation can also be known as what? Statutory corporation, because they are created by a statute, that is a law. They are created by a law. So they don't come into being except it is backed up by specific law. So these enterprises in question, they are product of the law of the land. They are product of the law of the land. So, however, State-owned enterprises are not the same as public corporations, such as listed companies with stocks. Let me quickly explain that. When we say public corporations, they are the type that if you go to the floor of Nigerian Stock Exchange, you can get their shares to buy, to become part of the owners of such company. So they are not the same. The reason why they are basically not the same is that the state-owned enterprises, they don't seek to maximize profits. They don't seek to maximize profit, but public corporations, such as listed companies that have stocks that could be sold on the floor of Nigerian estate, they are basically profit maximizing entities, as against the government that is basically trying to be socially responsible. You'll be hearing things like social responsibility of government. Okay. When government is into any enterprise, the major mindset is for them to make a good product or a good service go around everywhere among the citizenry. But for the public one, they don't really care. They don't really care as to whether everybody is carried along. What they care about is that they want to make profit and even to maximize profit making. Having said that, please let's progress. There are various definitions of a state-owned enterprise or public enterprises. A government-owned corporation is a legal, industrial, or commercial entity created by a government to undertake commercial activities on behalf of the government and is considered to be an element or part of the state. So what do you see? People are working for this type of enterprise. They are called civil servants. People are working for this type of enterprise. They are called civil servants. I don't know how many of you are civil servants there now. So you can call the place you are working now a what? A public enterprise. And we discovered that in public enterprise, the emphasis is not persistently on excessive money making. It's not on excessive money, but to make sure that what is good can go around the country. I can tell you so many things you see that government is involved in one way or the other. They are subsidized, including electricity that we are seeing. They are subsidized. Okay, you have Ministry of Works. It's an enterprise. And majority of us, we use those roads, we don't even pay. If private person were to build those roads, they will make us to pay toll fee, exorbitant price for toll fee. So that's why you will be saying that they are collecting toll gates. For those of you who know a place like Lagos very well, there's a place in Onipan they call Kayode Road or Kayode Street. You cannot cross that road without paying. They will give you ticket because it's a private one. But how many of government owned do we use? And we don't pay anything. Because the mindset of government is to make sure that anything they are into, to make the good, to make the citizenry enjoy the good taste of good governance. So, state-owned enterprises are those businesses units which are partly or only owned, controlled by the government. So there are cases whereby it may not be government alone that owns it. You may see private persons too who are also part of the owner. But government has interest in it. And because government has interest in it, government will not allow that even if they are making profits, excessive profit making or profit maximization, government will prevent that. We still get to a point where you will see how government institute control over the private businesses. So corporations as they are, when you talk about the public ones, they are those ones who can get their stock to buy. So that makes them different from what? Public enterprises, as we have said. Okay, so example of state-owned enterprises, I abbreviated state-owned enterprises as what? SOEs. Okay, government-owned what? Corporation, GOC, government-owned corporation, GOC. Those are the abbreviation we gave them. They provide infrastructure such as railway, you mentioned, recall I've just mentioned road, strategic goods and services like postal services. And when you use their own, you compare it to other Korea, you discover that other Korea are far more expensive than the one of government. Arms manufacturing and procurement. For instance, no individual will be licensed in Nigeria to be producing gun. No individual will be licensed in Nigeria to be producing things like bomb and the rest, explosives. If they do that, government will go after them. But it's the responsibility of government to make sure that all those kind of things, if they must become business, governments must be involved so that regulation will come in. So things like arms manufacturing and procurement is part of things that government undertake. Natural resources, like all this mining you see us doing, either the crude oil or any other mining at all, whether quarry and the rest. Government take charge of such enterprises. Politically sensitive businesses, as in broadcasting, telecommunication, and banking, government comes in too. Because if you leave telecommunication and broadcasting to various individuals, especially in a politically saddled environment, you see people be misusing it massively. Demerit goods, they come in there too to make sure there is regulation of even the public arms. Merit goods like healthcare. Healthcare is meant to be extremely expensive, but because government steps in, you discover that it's by far more affordable when you go for government services, like in general